Hello, hello, I'm back. Miss me much? It's Madalyn, your good friend Madalyn Sklar, back to live streaming. I don't know about you all, but I've missed doing this regularly. This used to be a thing. For those that haven't known me for long, this used to be the thing I did a lot years ago. But life happens and sometimes things change. And so I wasn't able to do the live streams like I used to. And do it at the capacity I always like doing it at. So I'm at a place now in my life where I can get back into the swing of things, back into spending more time live streaming and helping you all work smarter, not harder when it comes to digital marketing and social media. And thank you all so much for joining in. I do want to let y'all know that easiest way to stay in touch these days would be email. So we don't lose each other. Social media has been a bit crazy and, the algorithm is not usually in our favor. So what you can do is go join me on my mailing list because I'm going to restart it. I haven't used it for a while. I think I stopped sending out emails beginning of the year. It's kind of been like this 6-month hiatus I took from my Madalyn Sklar brand. But it's time to rebrand it all. I titled this Madalyn's Shh, Private Secret Club. I don't know if anybody here remembers this, but a long time ago, I want to say 2017, 2018, I don't remember what year it was. What I did is I created a Facebook group. And this is what I called it. I called it Madalyn's Shh, Private Secret Club. And I did that because number one, it grabs attention, right? People joined. They're like, ooh, this sounds good, sounds juicy. A lot of people know that I've been teaching digital marketing and social media for many years. Really, I'm at the point where I say decades. Digital marketing for almost 3 decades and social media for almost 2 decades. Long time. And I really enjoy live streaming and using this as a way to communicate and share things that I learn. I'm a constant learner. And even though I've taken a step back for several years when I was taking care of my mom, and then, that part of my life has changed and, new chapter, and been working on some passion projects and things like that. But I took a break from just the whole Madalyn Sklar brand for the past 6 months. And I'm just ready to kind of get back into it. And I want to read you all this quote because one of my favorite podcasts is James Wedmore. And he's a longtime podcaster, course creator. He does all kinds of things and just always one of my favorite online influencers. And he did a podcast episode several years back. And he talked about something that really resonated with me and why I just hit the button to go live just now. Even though that's always a scary thing to do, right? You all know it's not easy hitting that live button and just putting yourself out there and talking. But I have this quote written down because it really resonates with me a lot. And I'm going to read it off to y'all and see if this resonates with you. Definitely resonates with me hitting the go live button. So it says, action creates clarity, but most people are waiting for clarity before they take action. And I think that's one of the toughest things is that we're always waiting to get really clear before we start doing the thing we really want to do. And I wanted to get back into doing this. So that's why I figured I have to just go for it and figure this out as I go. So a couple of things I want to talk about. It's not going to be a long live stream, but one of the things I want to talk about, and thanks for all the people watching live. I can see we got quite a few people here live watching. Appreciate it. I'm broadcasting on X. I'm going to start saying X now. For those of you that have known me a long time, Twitter Smarter, my hashtag, the Twitter Smarter chat just celebrated 9. If I was still doing it, I stopped it earlier this year, but had I still been doing it, it would have been 9 years last week. So I did a special X space, but I just had a hard time not calling it Twitter anymore. So I kept calling it Twitter, but I know some people are kind of like, Madalyn, give the program. It's X now. It's been X for a while. I'm going to finally give it the program. I have come to terms with it. It wasn't what it was. We'll just say this. Twitter was amazing. A lot of y'all know me because I taught Twitter for many years. And that was something I was very passionate about, and I loved doing it. And people would leave Twitter, like all the big influencers, "Oh, shiny new object. Let's go play on Instagram. Let's go teach Instagram now. We don't wanna teach Twitter. We don't." I was like the only one for many, many years teaching Twitter because no everybody else left it. Everybody's like, "I'm not teaching that anymore. Nobody cares about Twitter." I was always the one in the back going, we're still here. There's still people here. It's still an amazing platform." So for anybody that doesn't know, I started a podcast. Well, I did a lot of things with Twitter. 2013 is when I started the Twitter Smarter hashtag and using it as a way to help people learn more about Twitter just by going to the hashtag on. I would post. I did this for many, many years. I would post articles and information about Twitter every day with the hashtag. I did it for probably 12 years, I think, a long time. Then I started teaching an online class called the Twitter Smarter Masterclass. That was also in 2013. Then in 2015, I started the Twitter Smarter podcast, and it was so well received that less than 2 months later, I think about a month and a half, I started the Twitter Smarter chat, which a lot of y'all know me from. And so, I've come to terms with it. It's X, it's different. There's still amazing people there, and I appreciate y'all. But a lot of people left. Let's face the facts. A lot of people left, and they're still leaving. A lot of them went to Threads. I want to like Threads. I really do. I think it has its place, and I'm trying to spend more time on there. I just wish there was a way to live stream or an audio chat or even an old school Twitter chat. I mean, I've seen Buffer try to do an old school Twitter chat on there, and I don't see it working. It's nah, not going to work. But y'all know that I'm always experimenting. I'm always trying new things, and I love to come share it with y'all. That's what I do. So you'll see on the ticker below, sign up for my newsletter. Even though I need to revamp it, you can still go ahead and sign up because I am going to start using it again. And at minimum, we can stay in touch through that. MadalynSklar.beehive.com is the link. I have to kind of like rebuild everything and get back to, things like MadalynSklar.com/newsletter. I don't have that set up right now. So MadalynSklar.beehive.com. Just go there, sign up, and that way, at minimum, we're not going to miss each other. The algorithm, you don't have to worry about the algorithm on the different social media platforms because, they like to control what we all see every day. But anyway, couple of things I want to talk about. I'm not going to do this for too long, although I'm sure I'm going to chat in real time with all of y'all. I see that we've got quite a few people popping in here. Look at that. Jason from Bunsen and Beaker saying, "Calm down, Beaker." I love it. It's great to see y'all. It's my good friend Steve that I go way back in my Go Girls music days. And gosh, so many cool people here. Hello to Brent. Look at all of y'all in here. This is so cool. It's nice to see all these comments from y'all. Yeah, Threads is very simple. I do like that it's super simple and easy to use. I'm just trying to figure out what could I do with it? And I've been trying to figure that out since it started. Threads has been around a while now. Jason also says there's an audience there, but it doesn't have simple bells and whistles for creators like live streaming, audio, DMing. Yeah, I know that's what's frustrating for me, but I will figure out a way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new online community. So the reason why I called this live stream today the Madalyn Shhh Private Secret Club is because I had a Facebook group. I'm going to pull it up so y'all can see. I had a Facebook group a long time ago. And that's what I called it. It was so funny. I come up with the funniest, most creative names for things. Let me show y'all real quick. This is a real Facebook. It's still there. It's still there. Called Madalyn Shhh Private Secret Club. And I love this photo. It was a photo shoot I had done back when I had a lot less tattoos. I'm like all tatted up now. I got a whole bunch of them. Anyway, this was years ago. And I came up with this as a way to have a private Facebook group when Facebook groups were still the thing. And just as kind of like a fun way to share more of my knowledge with people and help them in an interesting way. And, Facebook groups were all the rage for so long, but they're not so much anymore. And that's okay. Things change, things evolve, and I'm always on top of that, as y'all know. Those of you that have gotten to know me now, like, I'm always on top of it. I used to always say I'm like the female version of Gary Vaynerchuk. I can remember back when Gary V first started getting popular, and it's like, this guy is just learning the stuff day and night and then turning around and teaching it to everybody. And I was always the same way. So I just remember in those early Gary V days, I'd be like, I can remember him like, learning some new app and getting all excited and tweeting it out. And it's like, I do the same exact thing. Like, no, I'm not going out with my friends tonight. I'm going to stay home and learn how to use this new app so I can go tell everybody how to use it because it's so cool. Because I can just be a nerdy geek like that. So I'm just always learning. And even though I've taken a back seat to my Madalyn Skool brand the last 6 months, I mean, all I do is listen to podcasts to help me be a better marketer, how to use social media better, how to do branding better, everything. Like, I'm always learning how to do all these things better. And then it's like, well, I don't want to keep all this information to myself. So what can I do to keep sharing all this stuff? If I tweet it out like I used to do, algorithm is not going to necessarily favor it. I don't want to restart the Facebook group because we know with Facebook, it's not always easy to see everything, and things just, plus people don't want to, people are scattered. That's the biggest thing I see right now. People are scattered. They are not all in Facebook groups now. They're not all on just Twitter. A lot of people left Twitter for Threads. It's just a fact. That's what's going on right now. And they're still leaving Twitter. I said I was going to say X. I'm going to get better at that. It's going to take me a minute. People are leaving X in droves because they're fed up with Elon and his tweet, his posts, all of his messaging. And I don't blame anybody. But then again, there's so many of us who've built huge following on Twitter. I mean, on X. Oh, I'm going to be correcting myself a million times. I'm going to get to it because there was a time not that long ago where I was conditioning myself to say X, and it took me about a day or two, and then I was really good at it. I'll get there. I'll just have to keep correcting myself. But Jason from Budson and Beaker, I mean, he's built a huge community on X. And it's hard to give up when you've built something amazing and there's still amazing people there. So for instance, last Thursday, a week ago, I did a X Space to celebrate what would have been the 9-year anniversary of the Twitter Smarter Chat. I thought it'd be fun. I hadn't done one of those in 6 months, and it was amazing how many people from the old community came out. This was like last minute. I didn't even really plan. I just it was the day before. It was last Wednesday. I'm like, this would have been our 9th year doing this every week. Why don't I just do a space, catch up with everybody and hang out? And it was awesome. We had so many people come out like, oh my gosh, I've missed you, Madalyn. I've missed this community. I missed the people. So what I want to do is I want to take that magic that we had when we had the Twitter Smarter community, but have it be something new and different. And that's something I've always been good at doing, is kind of repackaging what I do. I started, my history with all this was in 1996. I started 2 things in 1 month. I started my own web design business when that was a brand new thing. I was one of the very first web designers in Houston. Most people didn't know what a .com was yet. And same month, I started an online community for female musicians called Go Girls Music. It was just something I wanted to do for fun as a passion project. And it was amazing to see over time how bringing people together online to form a community, how magical that was. So that was my first time building an online community. And I did that for over 20 years. But that was just something I always did on the side while juggling other things, whether it was building websites, which I did for 11 years, and then it was transitioning into being more of a business coach. And then because I got really popular in the indie music community from my website, from the community I built, that everybody wanted my advice on building their brand as a musician and how to navigate through social media. So I started doing music business coaching for a long time as well. And so I was always doing a lot of different things, but I was always happy to pivot as needed. And then when social media really got going, I started teaching it to people in 2005. That was when I first started like seeing that people wanted help with it. And I've been doing that for a long time, and I want to keep doing that because I love doing that. Because what I was saying a few minutes ago is that I'm still learning stuff every day. I've been using TikTok for my current passion project, and I've learned so many tips and thoughts on like how to use that and help other people with it. I've learned so much, and so as I learn things, I want to keep sharing, and that's something I've always done. And even when I had the Twitter Smarter chat community for those almost 9 years that I ran it, there was always new things going on at Twitter, and I would turn around and teach it to everybody. And then also, it's not just me teaching. All the communities that I have is a community effort. So it's me sharing my knowledge, but also passing the mic over to everybody else and give them the chance to share what they know with the group. And I think that's just something that is incredibly magical and something I've always had a great knack for and that I really like to do. So I did that with every online community I've built. And there's even another one I had for years. I did a podcast years back with my good friend Cami Hoysa, and we had a podcast called Communities That Convert. So we also had, in addition to this podcast where we were teaching people how to build great online and offline communities, we also built an online community for it as well. So I just think back and go, man, I've had so many different online communities that I've built, that I've nurtured, and met so many amazing people. And obviously, knowing you all here that are here live or watching the replay through some interaction we've had online in these various communities or just through social media. And I've been thinking a lot lately about wanting to restart, capture the magic, but how would I do it? I want to be on all the different social media platforms, but again, everybody's scattered. So you got people who are going to only be on Threads these days. They're not going to come back to X. So they're not going to come to the Spaces chats. So I want to do more live streaming because I like live streaming. I can show my screen and teach and do all kinds of things. And I can live stream to multiple places. So like right now, I'm live streaming to my Facebook, my Madalyn Skool Facebook page. I'm not posting it to my personal profile. I thought about doing that. But I think what I'm going to do instead is post this to my page, and then I'll just share it to my personal profile and see how that goes. Always experimenting. And who knows, I might realize that's not the best way to do it, and I just do my Facebook profile. I'm also broadcasting to my Madalyn Skool YouTube. I had a pretty vibrant YouTube channel for a while. I didn't put a lot of effort into YouTube videos. I want to get back into doing that more of a full speed because I see the power of YouTube for marketing, branding, teaching, all the things. But what's funny is looking back at my YouTube, it is basically how to use Twitter better. And because I've been teaching it for so long and my account is so old, people started watching, they started finding, like, just in the last year or so, people were finding my videos, but so much of the information's outdated. And it got to the point where people were commenting and pissed off, like, this doesn't work anymore like this, or Twitter doesn't look like this anymore. And it's like, okay, I know that. Look at when this video came out. It's old stuff. So, and even some videos I made last year changed pretty quickly because Elon kept making a lot of changes to the X platform, and stuff got outdated really fast. So I realized I just have to take it all down. So it's kind of weird, but my YouTube channel, the only thing that's on there right now are some live streams I've done with Social Media Examiner where I was brought on as their Twitter expert. I left those up, and some videos I've been in that other people had me on. But all like my how-tos, because it was mostly Twitter how-tos that I taught. I took them all down. Like I made them all private because like, what's the point? It's all so old. So I feel like I'm going to just have a clean slate And instead of just starting with a brand new channel, I'm going to work with what I have and the existing followers and just change it to be just more digital marketing, social media, and stuff like this. So it's just a big experiment. It might not work. I might have to start over and just make a whole new account. But right now I'm broadcasting live on YouTube and broadcasting live on X. And so that's what I'm doing is, figuring out how can I reach everybody. So I'm live streaming to multiple places. I can go share that in threads. I can go share that, on other platforms where I can't live stream like I'm doing live right now. And how can I get a new community together and what would I do and how would I do it? So my thought, and this is a work in progress, and y'all feel free to share your thoughts and, is going to come together. But what I'm deciding on right now is to use the Skool platform. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Skool, Skool.com, Skool. It is a membership site. Well, let me back up. It's a place to build an online community that you control. Like I can go do a Facebook group right now, like the one I showed y'all a little while ago, my previous Madalyn Private Secret Club. I mean, that was a Facebook group. It was a Facebook group I started years ago. And at the time it was great, but we're not in 2017 anymore. We're in 2024 and times have changed. And more platforms are cropping up like Skool, there's Circle, there's a handful of them. I can't think of them all, the names off the top of my head, but there's a handful of them now where actually, if you want to start an online community, instead of Facebook, which is free, but Facebook controls everything. Not everybody's going to see your stuff. You can easily get into trouble if you say certain things. There's just so many problems. But when you take charge, it's not free. You got to pay for it. But you can control the content and you're not going to ever get in trouble. I mean, of course, you got to abide by the rules, but the rules are not nearly as strict as like Facebook group rules or TikTok rules. There's a lot of these platforms have very strict rules. So I've been using the Skool platform for my passion project. I have a podcast called Kratom Stories, and it's completely different from all the stuff I do here. It has nothing to do with my past teaching social media and digital marketing. It is a plant that I learned about 5 years ago, and it helps me with my chronic pain. And it's been amazing. So I wanted to start a podcast where I bring people on and have them share their stories. Actually, I'll bring it up so I can show y'all. And I'm very proud of this. And it's something I enjoy doing. It's something I'm very passionate about. And so I've just been focusing a whole lot of attention on it for these, since the start of the year, as it came out. So it's called Kratom Stories podcast. So it's a botanical, not like cannabis. It does not get you high. It's not like it's nothing like that at all. And I just want to share information about my experience and have other people share their experience. So something I'm very, very proud of. If anybody wants to check it out, kratomstoriespodcast.com. So that's something I've been spending a lot of time on. Really enjoy that. But I also want to get back into doing more of this and teaching this. So for that community, I've built a little private forum using Skool for that called Kratom Real Talk. And it's been really cool. Now it costs me money to set it up, and then I dictate the rules. I control everything. And that gives me so much more flexibility and freedom for our community to have discussions. Now, I can charge a fee for the members, or I can have it be free. You get all these options of what you could do with it, which is cool. So for that community, I made it free. I pay for it, but I don't charge people to come on there. And it's been a great way for us to have open, honest conversations about this plant, helping each other and doing it in a way where people feel comfortable and not having to rely on Facebook where you can't always, get the posts. Plus you got people who don't want to be on Facebook anymore. And like, there's a lot of pros and cons with all of this, but I've learned that through me using Skool, I really like it as a platform. So then I've been thinking a lot lately about what could I build to bring the magic back of what we've had with Twitter Smarter and all the different things that I do where I can get back to teaching and helping people and just do all the things I really enjoy doing. So I'm going to set up Skool, and what I want to do, and y'all feel free to give me your thoughts on this. What I want to do is have it be low cost, so it'll be a monthly fee to be a part of it. So that's why I'm going to be rebranding this, as Madalyn Shhh Private Secret Club, because I just love that name. I think it makes people think like, oh, this is going to be some good stuff because this is not for everybody. And that's the whole point. I want it to be just all the really good tips and advice that I can give, but also in a really great community vibe where, just like with my Twitter Smarter community that I've had for so long, it was just magical. I mean, if you've never been there, then I guess you'd have to be there to experience it. Actually, if y'all want to check it out, so as I mentioned earlier, last Thursday, I did an impromptu X Space that would have been our 9-year anniversary of the Twitter Smarter chat. So you can always go check it out and listen to the replay. It's here in my X feed, not too far down in the feed. So be sure to check that out so you can kind of see what the vibe is like when we have those discussions. So I want to kind of bring all that magic back. I feel that Skool could be a great platform for me to do it. I want it to be low cost so that, number one, with it being a fee, it's going to keep people out of there that are not there to participate. They just want to disrupt. There's always that, and that's always the issue you can run into with a free community. And I want it to be for people who just seriously want to learn some things and value me and my thoughts and want to be surrounded by other people who are like-minded that want to help others. I don't want, losers coming in and making it not a good experience. So I feel like something that is low cost, that people feel like there's enough value that it's worthwhile to do. And then from there, I can have other things that are higher price things, some coaching, some other like higher end masterminds, some online courses. I want to get back into teaching more with the online courses because I used to do that a lot and I missed that. For those that don't know, the reason why I haven't been doing this all these years, I did, but then I stopped, was that in 2018, I had to suddenly drop everything and go take care of my mom. And my dad got ill suddenly, and then he passed away suddenly. And so I had to take care of my mom. And I ended up doing it because I had a very flexible schedule and could do it. I can work from anywhere as long as I have internet access. And it just worked out. And so I stayed. I basically, to put it this way, I packed an overnight bag and never left. And I was there for like 4.5 years. So prior to that phone call to go help and take care of them, I had this group, the Madalyn Shhh Private Secret Club. I mean, it was a real Facebook group. I wonder if anybody here was in it. I mean, it wasn't huge because I didn't have it for long, but I mean, there's still people in there. I don't use it anymore, but yeah, I have 152 people are still in there. They'd probably freak out if I go post. I'm thinking about like just posting something out of the blue. Guess what? I'm bringing back the Madalyn Shhh Private Secret Club. I think do y'all even like the name? Is it too hokey? I was like, I always loved that name. I just thought it was so cool. I could be wrong, but anyway, I want to bring all that magic back and try doing this over on the Skool platform, where I just feel like that's where it would work. So that's what I'm going to try doing. I'm going to go start a new community where we can all gather, we can chat. I'll still have plenty of stuff for people that, are not able to afford being part of a paid community. But I'm going to keep, like, I really feel like this should be super, like, ridiculously low cost. Just to be more about let's get as many cool, amazing people there as possible that get it. I guess is the best way to put it, that get it. And then for those that want even more, then, there'll be other things. So I wanted to see what y'all thought of that. So it goes back to, I have the ticker on here with my newsletter address, madalynsklar.beehive.com. So if you're not on my email list, sign up. So at minimum, I still got to revamp it. I need to update some of the stuff in there, but I want to kind of keep everybody informed of everything through the email list, because as we know, the algorithm on social media controls who sees what. It's not always the best way to stay in touch with people. It's great to have social media. Let me give you a tip. It's great to have social media, but you cannot beat having an email address from your prospects, from your customers, from, whoever it is you serve. Email address is gold. And I've been saying that for decades. It's never going to not be. It will always be that way. You should always have a website and an email list. So I'm going to, start using that list to stay in touch with everybody. Let you'll know what's going on. I'm going to start the new community. And a couple of quick things I want to talk about to wrap up. I remember saying to myself, oh, this is just going to be like a 10-minute live stream. And here we are 31 minutes later. I think once I get going, I just start talking and it's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going. But I appreciate y'all being here. I can't believe how many of y'all are here live. Wow. I just thought it'd be like just me and 5 people. So thank y'all for being here live. I'm impressed. I'm broadcasting right now on Facebook, YouTube, and X. So thank y'all. The other thing I wanted to mention, I have 2 more things to talk about and then we'll wrap up. And I'm going to start doing these more regularly. So as I was saying earlier, people are leaving X in droves right now because what I see people talking about is saying they're fed up with Elon and what he's turned the platform into, and the messaging and blah, blah, blah. And we talked about some of this last week when I did my impromptu X Space. That would have been our 9th year of the Twitter Smarter Chat. And a lot of people have stayed. And those of you that are watching here on X right now, I think it's amazing that so many of us have stayed here. When Threads first came out, and a bunch of people, especially for those of us in the digital marketing space and the social media space, a lot of our colleagues left, and a lot of them got pissed at us for staying. And while I don't agree with a lot of posts that come from Elon, I've always been pretty vocal about that. A platform is going to always be what you make of it. And I still find some value on the X platform, not as much as I used to. And it sucks that so many great, amazing people have left. Me personally, I love the vibe of Threads. I really do. It's the vibe that we used to have when X was Twitter. And I miss that. But there's still so many amazing people on X, and I don't want to lose that. So I feel, and plus me as somebody that's been in the social media space for so long, like many of us are on all the platforms. It's just, not everybody needs to be doing that. Most businesses don't need to. We always say things like, go to where your customers are. And that's still smart, but also be on a platform you enjoy using. And it's okay to just focus on one or two, and it's okay to focus on all of them. Spread yourself out and use all of them. There's no one right or wrong strategy. It's what works for you and what can you fit into your schedule. The number one key is consistency. If you can get on these platforms and be out there regularly, that's going to be great. If you don't have that time, work on the ones where you can be consistent, that you show up and that you're seen. When people are like, okay, I'm here today on the platform, and then you disappear for a while, you're forgotten. You're forgotten really quickly. So if you want to be top of mind, you need to be consistently on the platforms you want to be on. I try to just be on them all, some more than others, of course. But what you can do with X, if you've been frustrated with it and you're like, man, why am I still here? Everybody left. You still can get a lot out of it by utilizing X list. I'm trying not to say Twitter. Should make a drinking game out of that. How many times is Madalyn going to say Twitter? She needs to start saying X. But what we used to call a Twitter list is incredibly helpful. I can't even imagine using the platform without the list. And it's a great feature. It's available in the platform. When you go into X, you can go set up lists. You can make them private. You can make them public. That's how you can control the feed. A lot of people are like, I don't like the home feed. I don't like the For You feed. That's okay. I mean, actually, when it was Twitter, I didn't really like the home feed either. It's always been a little too, if you're like me and you follow a lot of people back, your home feed gets crazy. And then the For You is like crazy because the algorithm is deciding what you see. How about you make a list and then you control what you see? So you actually have more control than you probably realize by doing things like creating lists, and you can create multiple lists. I like making them private, so they're for my eyes only, and then I can control what I'm going to see. You can also go into your settings, your privacy settings, and you can mute words, you can mute phrases, you can block people, you can mute people. There's so many things you can do that can actually make a difference. And another thing that I think we sometimes forget is when you're interacting with people, then the algorithm is going to help you see more of that type of content. And that's very common with all the platforms. On Threads, I was, been talking about how this is so much more chill than X, or this, I don't know. I just said a couple of things about comparing Threads and liking the vibe more than X. And lately, the algorithm, everything now are when people are talking about that, like specifically that. It's like, wow, like the algorithm is really paying close attention to me over there. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. So just know that you have more control than you realize based on the interactions you have and going into the privacy settings. So something to think about, because so many times people say, oh, Twitter sucks and I don't like that For You feed. Well, you can make your own For You feed and call it whatever you want. The For You feed's still going to be there. It's not, that doesn't go away. They control that, but you can make your own lists and get the control through that. And this goes back to exactly why I'm saying, why not build your own community like what I want to do over on Skool? Because you have the controls. That's powerful. The other thing I want to mention, and part of one of the things I want to do in this community is share, I'm not even sure what to call this, but basically give you all like some shortcuts or small bites of some of the content of things I'm listening to or reading. Like, for instance, the example I'm going to give is an episode I listened to today from Amy Porterfield. I'm a huge fan of her Online Marketing Made Easy podcast. I've been listening to her podcast since the day it came out, which was a really long time ago, before I even became a podcaster. I'm going to bring up the site so y'all can see. I don't know if everybody here is familiar with her, but Amy Porterfield is an amazing digital marketer, teaches and provides so much value. And anyway, I was listening to this episode this morning when I was doing my morning walk with my 3-legged husky. Her name is Lucy. And this episode was so good and it really resonated with me. And I wanted to, share some of these things, like some of the things I picked up from it. So then you might go, okay, I don't normally listen to this podcast, but Madalyn mentioned that, wow, she kind of picked up these different tips from it. And she's given me the abbreviated version, right? Almost like Cliff Notes. And I'm thinking that could be pretty valuable and helpful to people to, when I'm picking up all these interesting things, let me just share it. So you don't have to go listen to this podcast or even go listen to this episode, or if you don't want to, but at least hey, here's some cool tips that will help your marketing today. So this was all about how to get more people to open your emails. And this guy, he has a website called subjectline.com. And I'll show that in just a moment. It's a website, it's a free site where you can put in a subject line for your, like an idea you have for a subject line of your email, and it's using an integration with ChatGPT to evaluate it. And I'll show that in a moment. It's pretty cool. But he was just sharing tips and advice on email marketing. And I always love learning new, even though I could teach a course on email marketing. I've been doing email marketing a long time. I still am a learner. I like to learn. I like to always get more information. And so I love the show notes. They always have so much information in the show notes, but they talked about why the subject line of your email is so crucial and tips for boosting the open rate, and talking about that tool that he created, subjectline.com, and some behind the scenes stuff, social versus email marketing, just a lot of tips and strategies. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to kind of share some of this stuff with y'all, because somebody watching this might find this helpful, of like the things that really resonated with me. And just to make this super easy, if anybody wants to go listen to this, is Amy Porterfield, her podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy. This is episode 704. The easiest way to ever get to the show notes page of an episode is to go to her website and do / and the episode number. So, for instance, easy way for you to get to this page I'm looking at right now, because we're on a live stream. You can't tap on this and get to it at this moment. So go to amyporterfield.com / 704. Put that into your browser, it's going to go right to this page. And I love that. I like how she has that so easy to access. But let me share a couple of interesting tips that some of my takeaways is that this guy, let me see, what was his name? Jay. He had some great tips. So one of the things he was talking about is, and some of this stuff is kind of like, duh, yeah, I already know that. But also, I'm the kind of person where I still like hearing experts talk about the things, even though I might already know some of this stuff. Sometimes, I don't know if you're the same way, but the way I am is sometimes I just need that refresher. Sometimes I need to hear it said out loud. It's like, oh yeah, I haven't done that in a while. That's a great idea. But one of the things he said is, in your subject line, start with a number, you know, having a number. And he says that can increase the percent of people opening up your email by 20%. He was really talking about experiment. And I love to experiment. I'm always experimenting pretty much everything I do. This is one big experiment right now, doing this live stream. Y'all know how I operate, those of you that know me well. So I thought that was interesting when he was saying, like, they're seeing that the open rates increase by starting the email subject line with a number. He also says it was authoritative doing that, and that for the person reading it, he says, is you know exactly what you're going to get out of it, because, and he made this great point, inbox is like your social media scroll. I mean, think about it. We're on social media all the time. What are we doing? We're scrolling through and looking for what grabs our attention. And that happens in our inbox as well. I don't know about you, but when I'm like scrolling through my inbox, it's the stuff that stands out that grabs my attention. And I think that was a good point when he mentioned the number, like numbers would stand out. That's a good point. The other thing he said is using an emoji in the subject line. He said that really can help boost the opens, because he also makes this other great point in this discussion, kind of leading up to all these tips. He said that, what's the point of a great email if nobody opens it? Something to think about, right? It's like what, this goes back to, duh, we know this stuff, but it's a reminder. It's a reminder. The next time you're setting up an email, a newsletter, or something you're sending out to your community, think about these things, right? Think about, it's not just the great content you put together for this amazing email. It's what's going to grab their attention to start with. And it's that subject line. And let me show you the this cool site he has that you can test different subject lines. Let me pull this up, because on StreamYard I have to go back and forth to pull up a website. It's a little bit of a pain, but anyway, this is a site. So this is, jot this down, subjectline.com. Subjectline.com. It's a free site. I just found out about this today from listening to this episode. And again, this goes back to why I want to get back into doing this kind of content with you all, because all these years, I come across stuff like this, little tidbits of information every single day. I listen to these kinds of podcasts every single day. and I'm always just taking in some info, and it just made me think like, gosh, I could just send out some shortcuts to you all, like kind of give you that here's what I listened to today. Here's the link to it, but let me tell you my takeaways. Let me know if y'all like that. I mean, is that something y'all find valuable? Like when because I do this on YouTube a lot too. I watch so many YouTube videos about marketing, about the latest tips on whatever, like how to use, like what's the latest with YouTube. Like we kind of paralleling this with having a good subject line, and nobody's going to open your amazing email if you don't have a good subject line. It's also like the latest with YouTube marketing right now. The content needs to be great, of course, on YouTube, but you got to have an amazing thumbnail and a great title. And they're even saying now, the experts, the YouTube marketing experts, they're saying, come up with the title and the thumbnail first before you create the video, which is interesting. But they really are seeing that when you have an amazing visual, which is your YouTube thumbnail, and a title that draws attention, that brings people in, that's the magic that will get them to go watch your video. Because let's face it, there's just so much out there. There's so much content. I'm just always picking up all kinds of little tips and tricks here and there. And I don't know. I just think that might be valuable for some people in the community for me to share. But this tool is really cool, subjectline.com. I really thought this was cool. And let's see. So I had actually sent out an email yesterday to my Kratom Stories podcast community, and I actually came up with what I thought was a really good title. I've gotten some feedback from a few people saying that they really liked the title. So I'm like, okay, I did pretty good here. Um, I just need to find where that subject line is. I don't think I saved it in my inbox, but I want to plug it in so we can see what it tells us and use this as an example. So you can, see exactly what I'm talking. I just always believe like it makes more sense when you can see something on the screen. I'm just more of a visual learner, and when I see it, it all comes together. I'm just realizing I should have saved this somewhere so I could find it more easily. It's like, where did that subject line go? But this is a live podcast. I mean, live stream, so anything can happen. Let me just try. Here it is. I found it. Okay. So I'm going to plug this in so we can go through this together and see what y'all think. So if you're watching this on your phone, this might be a little small. So here's the subject line. I just plugged it in. So the subject of the email was your weekly Kratom dose, latest podcast episodes and live stream fun, and an exclamation point on the end. So, so here it is in here. Okay. I don't know why that keeps popping up. And now it says evaluate. So I'm going to hit evaluate. And let's see, complete this form. Oh, I used it earlier. I wonder if because I've used it earlier, now it wants me to complete their form. He did say in this podcast that if you want more information, you got to put in your details and they'll send you even more. And it says if you register, you'll also get their weekly newsletter. So I'm wondering, you try it once for free, and then in the future, you got to just be signed up and give them your email address. Okay, this is why we're doing this live, because we'll learn together. Because when I did it before, it instantly gave me feedback, and I liked that. I thought that was really cool. So I don't know. Now it wants me to put all this info in. See, we're figuring it out together. Let me just try typing it in and see what happens. Just give me a second. I'm just going to, I just don't want to be on another email list. Y'all know how it is. Although if it's good info, it might be worth it. I'm just trying to figure out, it's like, let's just do this live in real time. So just give me 1 second. I'm just filling in the blanks here. Well, that's kind of frustrating. I was hoping that like every time you want to see the page is not even working now. Okay, scratch that. Maybe we won't use that free website because it's not working very well. But anyway, when I tried it for the first time, I put that subject in. So subjectline.com, I put this subject line of the newsletter I did yesterday, and it came back and gave me a good grade. So it'll grade it, and then it'll give you some examples. It's just using ChatGPT. It'll give you some examples of like some alternatives. So this is actually good, like the before you send it out, not after, like what I did. And then it also gave some other thoughts based on just different criteria, like, the attention grabbing, was saying that you can use an exclamation point. A lot of us learned over the years in email marketing not to use emojis, not to use exclamation point, not to use the word free. It became all these things that were seen as spammy. And he said in this podcast episode, that's not the case anymore. So it's actually okay to use exclamation points. It's okay to use emojis. It's okay to use the word free. Like I thought, okay, I didn't know that all that's been relaxed now. That's not such a big deal. He also said for your call to action, don't use the word like register, like something really generic. When let's say you have like you have something like sign up for my webinar kind of thing. You know how like you'll see a button that just says register. He said not to do that. He said write it in first person. He said, when it comes to call to actions for your messaging, you want to say something more like I went in or save my seat. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes we just need to like be reminded of little things like that. And he also says subject lines don't have to be short anymore. I know that was a thing for a long time. Short and sweet, keep it super simple. He says that they can be long, although I know some of the newsletter platforms will have, limits, just work within that. But he said like, we're not in a time now where like it needs to be really short, because I know everybody was doing really short for a long time. And also he said when you have an offer in your email, many times we have like the button, right? The little button to stand. He says have a button and also have a text link, like do both. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. So that's just some interesting takeaways from that. I'm just trying to figure out like how I want to put all this together and share. I'm just verbally sharing this with y'all here. I didn't give this a whole lot of thought. I just thought I want to share with y'all that this is like some of my ideas of like what I want to bring to this community is, information that can help with your marketing. So that's really it for today. I can't believe I've been talking for almost an hour. I was just planning for this to be quick, but I just appreciate so many of y'all being here and just listening to me ramble about some of my ideas of how I want to relaunch my Madalyn Sklar brand and build a community and stay connected with everybody. So be sure to join my email list. So at minimum, we can stay connected. I'll probably be doing more of these kinds of live streams as I figure out what all I want to talk about. But if you go to madalynsklar.beehiiv.com, and Beehive is spelled kind of funny, Beehiiv. If you go there, you'll see my sign up page. Some of the stuff's a little outdated. I'm revamping it all. So just know all this stuff's a work in progress. Just be aware, work in progress. So that's it, y'all. I just want to let y'all know I'm back, and I'm going to just be putting out a lot more content and just finding ways to help y'all more. If y'all have some specific things you want help with, just reach out. Let me know like, hey, can you add helping with this kind of information in your community? Like this is kind of stuff I'm looking for. Just let me know. I like talking about the things that interest me: live streaming, podcasting, community building, how to use social media better, staying on top of the latest social media tips, tricks, and trends. It's like a triple T there. Tips, tricks, and trends. I like that. So that's what's going on here. Let's stay in touch, and feel free to send me a private message if you want, whatever. Let me know what all you're looking for help with, and we'll just keep this going. So I'll be back soon. Keep an eye out to Madalyn's Private Secret Club. Nobody's really commented on it. I hope y'all don't think that's too hokey. I mean, Be honest and tell me if that's a stupid name. I don't mind changing it. I'm starting with that for anybody that arrived late. That was the name of a Facebook group I had years ago. And that was the name of it, as a place for me to share latest tips, tricks, trends, and all that stuff. All right. I'm done talking now. I'm going to put a fork in it. So I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thanks for watching.